Tesla Expo 2024. I have to say the energy's better than ever. Really nice.
It's amazing. Going into this week, it was worrying about the weather, worrying about the feelings about people may have after
Good
the
reason,
fire.
by the way. At 8 o'clock in the morning, it was a downpour.
Yeah. So, everybody has 100 apps following, every storm possible. And we made the call yesterday that it seemed that everything was going to clear out early enough.
Good call.
And then we were able to get enough great volunteers to also help move the puddles off into areas that can then get everything into the earth, and that we'd have enough time to set up.
Who do we give credit to for continuing this? You and I go back 15 years ago. I remember the first conference was at the Indigo, I believe.
That's right.
It was, absolutely incredible. Now we're on the grounds, which is amazing, and they look fantastic. We have the obvious in back of us. We have the lab, which was hit hard by a fire about a year ago. So maybe
November of 23.
Okay, so about 8 months. Bring us up to date. Bring our audience up to date.
Right after we had the gala was the fire. About a week later, we had a fantastic gala. We had incredible honorees. We had great attendance. It was the first gala that we had in person after a while, even though we had truly dynamic and great virtual galas that we set up a new standard for a lot of people that attend a lot of these, and they say they fall flat. So it was amazing. The job that our team did to hold those was amazing. And we had our event, as you know, over at Flower Field. It was a great venue, great energy, great honorees. Everything else was fantastic. Then, of course, we had the fire, which was disappointing, to say the least. It has helped reinvigorate some of the supporters that we have further distance. It is part of running any nonprofit, particularly one that has a place. You have to show progress. And we don't live in a place where you can build anything without a permit, as you know. There is community input, which we always have great community support. We have the town board has always been, all the way down through staff, has always supported us in our mission, which, quite honestly, a lot of nonprofits don't get that benefit. Every level of government, town, county, state, federal, we have this. We have this great mission. We have this great place. We have
great support system.
Everything. I mean, so since then we've been working on the nuances and complexities of what you do after a tragedy, and then we at the same time you have to keep all the momentum going that you already had prior to that, and all of that is outreach and making new friends and everything that goes along.
And you would be the best person to ask. In terms of the layout of the plan that had already been in place, most of it's in place. None of that has changed, right?
Correct.
It's only gotten better. It's giving you some a pause to make it even better if you need it.
Yeah. Going back a few years, we were still debating on whether or not some of the old buildings we'd keep we always believed in detaching everything that was added on to the Stanford White building, to the lab building. But we decided maybe about 2 years ago to say get rid of everything else, to boil down to the original building.
Clean.
We have the visitor center that we have working through its nuances of permitting, and we're breaking ground on that this year. That's a big change. That'll be a big difference. We're out of the trailer. We are in a place where we can greet people and have better events rather than having them always off premise. We've worked through a site plan that we have approval on now that has to do with a new parking lot, and that is environmentally designed as well. That'll be our first parking lot, so that if we can get rid of the rest of this, get this building restored, get this building reopened as a museum, and then we start again. After we start that, we will then start fundraising for the Science Center aspect, which is another building that'll be somewhere north and maybe west of this building on the property, and which puts us into the league of the same league as the Liberty Science Centers of the world.
Yep.
And the Edison Centers.
The idea of that building, which a lot of people come in here today. Actually, they ask questions that they don't. Not everybody knows because it's not publicly open during the week, so to speak.
Sure.
So they ask questions like, what building is the Science Center? So this is all conceptual, but the idea is this would never be big enough even nearly big enough to be a Science Center.
That's correct. Right.
When somebody walks through this, when everything is said and done, they'll experience things as if Nikola Tesla was
That's
in
correct.
there.
Yeah,
that's great.
So part of our we have this kind of three-legged stool concept. We have this past, present, future piece, which is great for Nikola Tesla, a gentleman that was born in the 1800s. What he did that we still benefit from all of his technologies, and he was also a futurist. That's stuff that we're still trying to figure out what he did 100 years ago.
Unbelievable.
It truly is, and there's very few, if at all, people like that.
I agree.
And then, so our three-legged stool is also a museum that takes care of the past and honoring it to the T, of making this to be the way that it was designed and operated by Nikola Tesla. A couple of modern conveniences, of course, need to be done.
Sure.
Fire sprinklers and fire alarms and exit signs and things like that, and bathrooms, accessible bathrooms. But we want this to be at a Gettysburg level. I mean, we want this to be as authentic as possible.
I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah, and then a separate facility will be where, in the visitor center, we have exhibition space to start working on and start presenting all of our science center aspects and work on that curriculum, which is not only the things you touch and feel and see, but also the education programs. We're also running parallel with that. We're working on how to put together a virtual museum and science center as well, because
which is changing every 6 months.
Not only that, but so I'm going to come back. Let's come back to that for a moment. But the thing that is important is that our audience is the world, and I've been involved since about 2008, 2009. It was solely people that were, you could throw a rock to their house kind of thing, right? And which is an amazing thing, that how far they were able to get. And then, but this building belongs to the world, and that is something that we don't take lightly. We truly weigh how we want to operate as a board, how we want to operate with our curriculum. That the benefits of what this man did was to really unite the world on all these different ideologies, and that is our touchstone to move forward. Now, a moment ago, you had said something about the
museum itself and the experience within the museum we talked about.
Yeah. So we have the visitor center that'll help us start to work on our science center programming and things like that. And then we have the third leg. The third leg is about the innovation that happened here. So when you research museums and science centers, and a certain amount comes from ticket sales and grants and raising money and all that other stuff, one of the other pieces is that a lot of people over the past decade and a half have come to us as some type of wanting our blessing or wanting us to connect to other innovators. So we see ourselves as
current day innovators.
Yep, current day innovators. So we see ourselves as almost a
incubation.
not a clearinghouse, but where we're going to that route is to have an innovation incubator space, so that if we would grow that to a point, and then again, this is in concept right now, but the goal is that we would help young businesses develop, connect them into the right companies that have the ethos of Tesla, and then we help them get off their feet, and then a portion of them always comes back to this place, and almost
Third
the
stool.
way, because I think that what Tesla was trying to do to get funding for his science was that he believed in trying to find a way to get investment and then amplify it, or even how he did it with voltage, how to take a little bit of amps and make massive voltage out of it.
Very true, but the incredible antithesis of that is that he forgoed his royalties. To further what we're experiencing today. Which is interesting. If he had to, everybody makes mistakes in life. If he had to look back, it'd be interesting if he would do that, and/or was he forced to do that?
Well, I think based upon my research and understandings, anecdotally, he was allowed to leave his family business, which was clergy, because his family felt that he had such a special gift given by God to understand certain things about science, and engineering, and that truly believed that was his touchstone. His touchstone was not about I need to make a ton of money. The money part was just a necessity to keep going and keep innovating, and nobody was giving away copper for free and stuff like that. So I think that the fact that he did that for Westinghouse and tore up that agreement rather than renegotiate it was because he felt that
push forward.
I think it was part of push forward, but I think it was part of him saying this isn't just because I could understand it and I can read it and I could take something that's in the ether and make it tangible to give it to people doesn't mean it belongs to me. So I think that I mean, this is my own opinion of even speaking to a bunch of authors and researchers.
Sure.
I mean, this was really baked into his soul.
That's amazing.
That this was not his.
Yeah.
He just had the insight to understand it.
Well, I wonder how Apple feels about what's theirs and what's not theirs, which is funny. Wonderful background, by the way. We talk about a day like today. Does anybody want to mention in particular in terms of sponsors? I know Amazon, Zebra, a few sponsors that make things, keep making these things happening.
Yeah. I mean, Zebra has stepped up, greatly, and Amazon for the year. My business we donate every year too, and Markham has, and Carrie Bianculli, she has too. So I mean, all these we have great support for these events, and it's only going to amplify because I think that when we go out to the potential donors and sponsorships, and they see the cross section of people that truly, we had people that flew in from Germany and took the train out and 2 Suffolk County buses to get here today. There's a passion here, and I think that because we're, I guess, politically agnostic as well, I think that is we have a great mission.
Yeah, everybody can be involved.
Everybody can be involved.
Enjoy.
Everybody can, and there's something here for everybody. And one of the things that I was most impressed by, that kind of is one of the reasons that I keep staying involved, is even when we started the expos and I would work the front gate and people would come in, and I absolutely loved meeting parents who are look like they never heard of the name Tesla, but their kid did. And they were like, I don't know.
Dad, we got to do this.
It was amazing. It was amazing that they were like, a guy like saying like, I work my butt off every day. I'm a mechanic, or I'm a truck driver, or I'm whatever type of great trade, and just say my son or my daughter loves this guy and understands what he did, and whatever this is where I see him or her the happiest, and I will do anything for my kid. And it really, that's how special this place is. Aside from when people contact us and ask us to get married in the middle of the tower, or some other kind of like, can I come and I want to get some dirt from the soil because I think it's magical. It's not that. It's entirely about who this underdog is, who he was. He was an immigrant. He kept one thing in his safe. Do you know what it was?
No.
His cititizenship. Not his patents, not cash, not money. It was his.
I did not know that.
He absolutely loved, and he had the opportunity to immigrate at a time when we were growing as a country, and thank goodness he was able to, and he loved this country and everything and he felt there was a lot to give back. I mean, just remember, this is only 16 acres. When he was here, when he bought it, was 200 acres.
200 acres. That I know.
200 acres. Yeah. And he wanted to build a radio city.
Gotcha.
Before there was Radio City.
Right. Fantastic. Well, thank you, Michael. I see things or hear things are heating up. We have a Sky Drone show tonight. Very unique. Another example of great programming. So
and the connection.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Right, because the drone technology is based upon the teleautomaton.
That's right. Which he did. Didn't he do it right here in Shore and Beach?
He did.
He did it in the park.
He did it at Madison Square Garden.
Right.
Right, which was next to the park.
And in Central Park, right?
Okay. No, it was Madison Square Garden at an expo. And then he did it on the beach.
And that blew people's mind back then.
Yeah, people accused him of witchcraft, of that he had a trained monkey in there. It was amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So we'll show you some of that later. Thanks for spending some time with us right here in Shoreham, New York for the Tesla Expo and birthday. Thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome. Thank you.